What's going on, my fellow Kino Lords? So I know it's been a hot, steaming minute since I've uploaded anything on the channel. I think the last thing I uploaded was my Eddington review, and that was basically like a month ago. My life's fucking insane right now. You guys know that at this point. But I did finally find some time to watch Zach Cregger's new film, Weapons. I'm like a week late on it, but better late than never. Um, so yeah, I honestly went into this film not knowing anything about it. I think I only saw like a few like quick brief trailer like promo bits on social media like Instagram and stuff like that, but I really did not know anything about this movie besides the fact that it's directed by the same guy who directed Barbarian, um, which is a film that I enjoyed. I mean, I wasn't huge on that movie, but I admired that movie more than I really enjoyed it. Um, but yeah, that being said, let's cut to the chase about what I think about Weapons. I feel a bit similarly about Weapons that I do about Barbarian, except I do like Weapons better. Um, I like Weapons. I think it's a very good movie. Um, I enjoyed a lot of things about it. Um, I am not super in love with it though. I think that there's a handful of things that um, either bothered me or I just felt like was a bit underwhelming. But for the most part, I think that this is a very good movie. I think the thing that really sticks out to me the most is one, like the direction and the presentation of it. I think that his ability to encapsulate a very odd but dark and surreal atmosphere um, was very impressive in this movie. Um, because this movie kind of sets itself up to be almost like an odd crime mystery and even like folklore type thing. Because with the whole thing where this was a time, this was something that happened, and it's based on a true story, which obviously it's not. But at precisely 2:17 a.m. at night, all these children in this one particular classroom just left and they all disappeared. And it has this very like folklore specific kind of lore that it's building, through its concept. And I think that Zach Cregger's direction and presentation abilities is what really like elevated the quality and the experience of this movie. Um, and it's also, and the reason why I say surreal as well is because there's a lot of dream sequences in this movie. Um, I think there's like four or more, and they're all effective, and I enjoyed them. But that is a reason why I do say like it is. It also did feel like a surreal kind of experience. Um, and I think again like his ability to package this idea to me was one of the stronger points about it because it's also presented in a non-linear fashion. Well, I don't know. I don't know if non-linear is even the correct word because it technically is still linear. But what it does is it has this style of following. It's like it's almost divided up into chapters basically, and each chapter follows a particular character, and it lasts for about 20 to 25 minutes, and then after that it follows a new character, and we kind of go back like each time we follow a new character, we go back a certain amount of time and follow a different kind of perspective of the events leading up to a common event. um, it's not the same as something like The Last Duel or Rashomon or something like that, but it's a bit similar in the way that it's spliced up. And I personally, I like that. I can see constantly kind of like getting edged and then going back in time to where it slows down again. I could see that bothering some people. But for me, I didn't mind it because even though we're kind of going back and experiencing something that leads to a common event, I always felt like even though the narrative itself isn't necessarily progressing, we're getting a lot of new narrative information and a lot of new character information and just plot information. And that's why I always felt, at the very least, intrigued and engaged into what this movie was trying to tell me, or at least just trying to showcase. Um, and and I think like the actual horror bits, like in terms of Zach Cregger's ability to build suspense and achieve jump scares, I think is really good, because there's definitely a good handful of jump scares in this movie, but none of them feel unearned. Like they all feel like there was actually like a method to the madness with the way that he wanted to really give the scares to the audience, and I think that worked out really well. And yeah, so the more that this film progresses, the more I feel weirder it tries to be. And I think in some ways it works really well. And it also starts blending like dark humor along with like the horror atmosphere and vibe, which is very difficult to do because it can throw you off mentally and emotionally what's going on. But I think he did do a really good job at kind of blending that humor in there to make it a more of like a unique experience. But yeah, the more this film progresses, the weirder it gets. And again, some elements of that worked, and some of them I feel like was a little bit underwhelming. Um, and here's the thing with that, and this is, I guess I'll give a slight spoiler warning here. Um, so if you don't want to hear like anything even remotely spoilery, you can go ahead and click off. But this movie progresses into eventually kind of revealing what's behind the mystery, right? Like eventually it gets to the point where it's like, okay, this is what's happening, blah blah blah. And I felt like the reveal of that was a bit underwhelming because it eventually kind of just chalks it up to black magic and the supernatural. And I feel like this is like the fourth or fifth movie I've seen of this genre that kind of does this. Like it kind of reminded me of Long Legs as well, where like Long Legs, it kind of sets itself up as this like mystery crime thriller horror thing, and then it's like, okay, uh, the big reveal is that the devil's behind it all basically, and it's fucking like voodoo black magic kind of thing going on. And that's something that I don't know. It was something that I personally I found a bit underwhelming, because I feel like we've seen this so many times at this point. Even like recent movies, we've seen this, and I'm just kind of getting like over it. Like I wanted something that was a little bit more fresh, a little bit more unique, and it kind of just goes back to doing the same old, in my opinion. And it just feels like a really easy solution to like the entire mystery that's going on. Again, I think it's executed well. Like I think the presentation and everything is done really well, but conceptually, I just wish there was. It just took a different. I wish it took a different route with it. But instead, we kind of get this, and it does it decently. It's just I just didn't like the idea, I guess. But then like it does get weirder in different ways in the third act that I personally enjoyed, and some of the, even again like the black magic stuff, it was growing on me a little bit just because I thought the execution of it was superb. Um, and then also like there are some things about this movie too that I feel like are really on the nose and not the most necessary thing. And like for instance, there is like this, again, this is gonna be a little bit spoilery, I apologize. But Josh Brolin has a dream sequence, and in this dream sequence, there's like eventually like leads up and pans up to like this big giant like apparition of an AK-47 in the sky with the time 217 on it, and it was just kind of like I can see why they would choose an image like that. It could just be like symbolic to you know school shootings and mass shootings and just in schools, and it's maybe a reference to that. But but it also about obviously like a gun is a weapon, and the movie's called Weapons, whatever. But it just felt like really like a little bit on the nose, and then on top of that, it's not the most like creatively profound image either. It almost felt like just kind of silly seeing that. Um, and uh, and yeah, like it's just like there's some things like that, and then also like I don't know, I didn't find there to be. I didn't really find this to be the most insightful movie ever either. Like, and I understand not every horror movie or every horror movie has to be insightful or deeply thematic, but to me, like, I feel like the best kinds of horror movies, at least the ones that I get a lot more out of and the ones that I appreciate more, like, give me a lot thematically to chew on afterwards. And I feel like anything that was there thematically in this movie is very surface level, and it's really just more about I don't know, like Zach Cregger wanting to tell just kind of like a weird and haunting and dark story, basically. And and I don't know, like it's cool in its own right in that way, but at the same time, I I can't help but feel underwhelmed by the fact that I didn't find there to be anything that thematically insightful about it. And again, it's just my first watch. Maybe I just didn't pick up on stuff, but initially, I didn't really get that much out of this movie. But it is fun, and you know, Zach Cregger has so much talent behind the camera, and and overall, like I did have fun with this movie for sure, and I do like it more than Barbarian. Um, so yeah, and the ending to this movie is awesome. I should make that clear. Like the ending to this movie, um, kind of just like puts a big smile on my face. I mean, I guess not like the last 10 seconds or something, but like the big thing that happens in this movie involving like the villain and the conclusion revolving around the villain, I thought was pretty badass and just like a lot of fun, um, and just overall like quite satisfying. Um, but but yeah, I mean, I guess that's I'll just stop there. I thought it was a very good movie. I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. Again, not super in love with it, but it is a movie that I do want to watch again in the near future. So I'll give Weapons a solid to strong 7 out of 10 for now. Um, I could see it maybe going up on rewatch, but I feel pretty confident in this rating. Um, but but yeah, that's all I got to say about it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed what I had to say about Weapons. Um, yeah, sorry it's been forever since I've uploaded or talked about anything. I'll try to get into a better habit of. I mean, I've seen a lot of movies. I just haven't had time to like review them. Like, I mean, I watched Superman and Jurassic World Rebirth. Jurassic World Rebirth fucking sucks. Superman was really good. I thought that was a great movie. I just didn't have time to like talk about it, but hopefully, like in my top 20 video at the end of the year, I can go more in depth about the movies that I really liked, but just didn't have time to review. But anyway, that's all I got to say about Weapons. If you really enjoy what I had to say about the film, please give it a thumbs up and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be updated on more film related content.